Dude, this takes a lot to do an introduction. I don't know how
Yeah,
YouTubers do it. No
it's a
idea.
lot of energy in it. You got to build yourself up for it.
Yeah, bro. Like, all right.
It's not good.
What we're talking
Right.
about today is WandaVision, and I am so hyped to talk about this because
Trust me.
it's been in my head for so long. Disney has done such a great job with this.
It's
And
killing me to have to wait week to week.
It's,
bro.
I know,
Week
bro. I
to
know.
week for like 20 minutes of an
Episode
episode.
5, bro. Episode
Yeah.
5 was insane. It just came
Yeah.
out today.
Yeah.
What can you tell
do
me
you think
about it?
overall so far? Before we go into like spoilers for that, what do you think like overall?
So like up to episode 4?
Yeah, well, yeah, just all of it. Like,
I
how
think
do you
it's-
think it's like done so far?
I think it's awesome. I love the different take on the universe and all the different kind of aspects going in. Because, I mean, I love everything about the MCU, but you gotta admit that like after a while, all the films kind of start to
Yeah.
feel very samey. They have
It's the
clearly
formula, innit?
exactly like they've
Yeah.
evolved over time and they've gotten a lot better. But like this was such a curveball. At the first 2 episodes, especially, were such a curveball in style, and it was very welcome. I feel.
100%. But that's what kind of pissed me off with everyone, like kind of with the backlash against it. Like everyone saying it were boring and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like this is like the kind of first time they've tried to do something a bit off center, and then you just get loads of backlash for it. It's just a bit worrying. I hope they don't like take notes from that, thinking that people don't want that. Because I think
I'm not gonna lie, it was very experimental though what they did with WandaVision. So like,
100%.
if I just saw the first episode, I don't think I would have been that hooked because it was a pretty slow start. But after like watching the first, second, third episode, that's where it started getting interesting.
I think that's what they needed though to kind of build it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
People
Yeah,
used to be, like eager.
Yeah,
for it to,
definitely.
like,
'Cause
Exactly, yeah.
Like watch the first one and they're like, oh, I'm not even gonna watch the second one because what's the point? Like it's a sitcom and it's like that is-
Yeah, exactly.
Like you know what I mean?
And I was really, really scared of watching it because I thought it would be something like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is kind of like the Flash of the DC universe, which is very cheap, no production. But this was different. This was high production.
I think that's what they're like avoiding Disney Plus. Like I don't think anything on Disney Plus is going to be like that because it's like different budgets and it's like fully integrated into the MCU now.
Yeah.
So like each show I think is going to be like top notch shit.
Yeah,
I hope so. I'm really looking forward to Winter Soldier or Falcon and the Winter Soldier or whatever they got going on there. Because that seems like the pinnacle of like their cinematic style done hopefully over a decent amount of episodes. Like everything that they were is that what they were saying
we've
now?
seen it happen with The Mandalorian, right?
Yes.
Like high production. And I think it really works. The way Disney's doing it just works so great. Like
crazy. It's crazy.
It's exciting that they've got like all these like new like series coming out.
Yeah, just like bringing smaller characters in and stuff. Yeah, definitely. But what would you say like your favorite kind of like either episode or just singular moment from it, like through?
Okay, I think I told you this already, James. It was the part where Vision starts suspecting something.
In this episode?
And then no, not in episode 5. I'm talking about episode 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I think it was in the end of episode 3. Vision starts suspecting something, and it just does this weird, spooky cut.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah. That was cool. It's like not massive amounts of editing, just a click back.
But it was so spooky because it just worked so well, that cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're like leaning. Oh, go on, sorry, bro.
No, you're fine. I don't think they were even trying to hide it, and they were just being so apparent and very like obvious about, all the mechanics that they're incorporating into it and all the different subversions that they're going for, especially with this like reality shaping television set that they're going with. It's fantastic. It's amazing.
And I think they're like leaning more into like the horror type thing that Doctor Strange 2 is going to be.
Yeah.
Like I think they're hinting more towards that, and I think that she's actually going to be like one of the main villains in Doctor Strange 2.
I hope so. I love this because
that would be hard.
I don't know a ton about the character's backstory in the comics. I'm just like a huge fan of the films and now the TV shows and stuff. But like some of the moments from I think it was episode 3, it might have been 2. Like when the beekeeper who was in the hazmat suit came out of the sewers, and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
I know, bro.
It honestly felt like something David Lynch would have done in one of his movies.
Definitely.
It felt
and the Wanda's just like, no,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
rewinds.
Yep.
It was so confusing, bro. Like I was like, what's happening here?
It's the same with that.
This guy.
Yeah, it's the same with that cut though, where she turns around and Vision's just
Dude,
dead.
that actually spooked me out.
Me up, bro.
Yeah.
No way, it was just his corpse.
Oh,
Yeah. Like, but that's
so...
the thing that she might be like just puppeteering his corpse around the house and stuff.
And like
that's pretty messed up.
But then again, you don't see them in bed together. Like she always
they had sex.
Yeah,
reality,
I like for Yash there.
Yeah, they had sex, guys.
That's insane.
They brought the beds together.
But that's the thing about like the kids and stuff, though. Like, I think they're actually real, you know.
Yeah, like she's
because did you see in this episode when she tried to use magic on him and it didn't work?
Yeah.
Like I don't think she has control over them. Like I think
the children are her subconscious.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, because when in the new episode, spoiler alert, when they were like, you can bring anything back to life, and then it kind of made her realize, and in the end of the episode, Quicksilver comes in, like a recast.
Yeah.
Bro, I had a theory about that. So like, I think the reason that they had the dead dog in the episode was to like show that Wanda can't bring back things that are just dead. Like she can't do that. It's not in her capabilities. So then when she's maybe subconsciously wanting her brother back, because he's dead, she pulls the closest thing to him from a different reality, which is the different Quicksilver from the Fox universe.
Yeah.
And that's why he's in there. Like, that's what I think it might be.
I think it's a great way to introduce X-Men as well, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool way of incorporating it. I hope that they use, because everyone was suspecting, I think, pre-Endgame, or maybe pre-Infinity War, that all the Infinity Stones being used at once would trigger some mutation in the current universe, and everyone thought that was going to be it, or that the X-Men have already existed, and that like Professor X wiped everybody's memory, like all of these absolutely insane theories that were going around.
Yeah.
And then one of my favorite ones was like the fact that obviously Scarlet Witch has these reality morphing powers, so she quite possibly, since her brother is, and she's a mutant in the comics, since her brother is Quicksilver, that would probably be the most logical way to do it. And it seems like they're going down that route, or at least something related to that. I really like that. When Evan Peters, who plays Pietro, like, or Peter, I think his name is, in the Fox universe, when he just shows up, I lost it, because I was totally expecting Aaron Taylor Johnson.
With the hair as well, they made it look like Aaron Taylor Johnson, didn't they, from behind?
They totally got me with that. I was not prepared for all, like, you can kind of see some of the stuff coming, not like by a mile away, but you can be like, okay, like definitely, like they're not particularly throwing me for a loop. But then once they came in with that, I was like, okay, no, now you have my attention.
Bro,
what did you guys think about the Lago tissue paper advertisement?
Oh, that was great. I love their ads.
Oh,
their ads are so real.
Did you see like the thing on it, like the tagline, where it's like when you make a mess, you didn't want to.
Yeah.
Because like Lagos is a place that blew up in Civil War.
And even the colors, like the mother had the red juice that's spilled.
Yeah.
And the father had the beer. Exactly. It's just these small things, which I'm like, bro, it's so well thought out. It's so well thought out.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's the only thing that's like the thing that is just making every Disney Plus show so like makes you look forward to it so much, because you know it's going to be such like an integral part of the MCU that you're just going to need to watch it. You know what I mean? I think that's like why they'll always have it up on like DC and everything like that, just because they don't have that.
Like DC, the thing is right now the Flash. What is it? They're just doing it for money.
Is that show still going on?
Yeah, exactly. Like, who's watching it?
But that's what. Have you seen the Flash film? Like what they're doing with that? They're just doing Spider-Verse. So he's like going through different dimensions and collecting different Batmen. So he's got like Michael Keaton Batman, Ben Affleck Batman. I don't know. Yeah, I know.
That's one way to do it. I'm not
that could be cool.
Flashpoint stuff. Like, I think that's a much more interesting point of it. I think that's a better like character like route that the Flash goes down, because like I kind of like Barry Allen. I'm not a huge like DC fan, or I'm not a huge DC nerd. Not nearly as much as I know about Marvel stuff, but like that's definitely one of the more interesting character tropes of that, because you kind of have that with Spider-Verse and and their comic line, I think, at some point in time. I think that was, I don't know, post 2005, I want to say. But then, I think the Flash has been doing that stuff since, I don't know, the 80s or something. That's a ballpark estimate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, what would you say is your favorite part for you, Tim?
Of WandaVision so far.
Yeah.
I'd say either the part where you see Vision's corpse for a split second. That was a slap in the face of, oh my gosh.
That was spooky as fuck.
I really liked when they flipped back to the regular world at the beginning of last episode, episode 4. When they were kind of explaining everything going on, because it grounded you back in the reality of the MCU we're so used to. And there's a lot to unpack there, and there's a lot that I like. There's also a lot that I kind of dislike too. But it's the imperfections about that I like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I just really like seeing different interpretations of the snap, seeing different sides of everyone coming back and stuff, and
I think
how their lives changed and stuff.
Yeah, everyone loves to edit all those clips together on YouTube to have the moment that he snaps back, and everybody has it lined up perfectly, edited together, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is great."
What parts did you dislike though?
I gotta say, I like Randall Park. I think he's a really funny actor, and I like the girl who plays Darcy. Bringing these B characters, these human B characters, non-superhero characters together works really well. But I can't help but feel the way that they were pointing out specific details and kind of it kind of feels like they're over-explaining some of the elements and stuff.
Yeah.
It loses a little bit of the cinematic style that I think I'm fond of in the MCU, and it leans a bit more into the, maybe a more TV aspect of it. But I'd say a bit more Disney-like. Yeah, but for the show, it works.
Was it in this episode, that thing that you were talking about? Was it the moment when they were saying about how powerful she was, and then they were describing moments from the final battle scene?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that was a bit weird. It's how would you know that? That exact.
It
thing.
Felt like it felt way more shoehorned in than a lot of the other dialogue, and it happens to only be the dialogue between Randall Park's character and Darcy, because they're obviously audience surrogates for everyone to kind of rally behind. But at the same time, it's Darcy was the comic relief in the Thor series, and Randall Park was kind of the comic relief in an already comedic Ant-Man series.
Yeah.
So putting them together and making them kind of have them be the audience surrogate kind of makes sense to kind of, again, ground the viewer a bit more. But it also does feel a bit more misplaced, because it doesn't feel like the dialogue feels nearly as natural as it should be. But then again, it is a show about a TV show that's absolutely different reality. So there's I can nitpick as much as I can, but overall, it doesn't remove my enjoyment of the whole thing.
Definitely. I saw a good little thing of someone saying there should be an X-Files type show with that Jimmy guy going around solving different Marvel mysteries and stuff.
That's what they could do.
Bro, I love his character. I love his character. Even in Ant-Man, when he's a magic trick.
Oh yeah,
that was great when he pulled the card out. That was
a really good.
I didn't get that at first, and then I went onto the subreddit. I'm like, wait, I feel like I've seen that before, and then I was like, oh, because I only saw Ant-Man and the Wasp once, but yeah. No, I think because what you were saying, James, about I can't remember is it Jimmy? Is it Agent Jimmy? Is that his name?
Yeah.
The concept of him going around solving mysteries and stuff. I think they're kind of doing something similar to that with the What If series that they're coming out with, I think, either this year or the beginning of next year. Because they're having that character, the Watcher, I think, come in and kind of host and play host to the alternate realities, and to kind of showcase the alternate universes that the Marvel, creators have, strive for. So that's really, really interesting. I think they might be exploring parts of that.
Yeah.
What are your theories going forward? How do you think it's going to end? We've got 2 episodes left now, so we've only got 40 minutes left of the actual show.
Wait, there's only 2 episodes left.
2 episodes after this. Yeah,
that's probably why the first 2 were very slow, the pace of the episodes.
Yeah,
and then 3, 4, 5 just revealed everything.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you know the actual place where she is, the town?
Westfield.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's Westview.
Yeah. So, do you know the outside of it when the police kind of see it?
Yeah.
and they're like, what is this? Don't you think it looks like Tony Stark's?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Did you see that? Where it's like someone saying, like, theorizing that, like, she's got some, you know, that bath technology,
so it's like
because it's all about it's all about like therapy. It's a therapy for people. So maybe Stark gave it to Wanda to use as like a therapy to get over Vision, and she's like manipulated it to create this world.
Okay, I did not think of that theory.
That's an interesting one, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. I think I'm more or at least I would be more partial to her powers being responsible for everything.
Definitely, bro.
I think that opens up way more same thing kind of having science explain. Because it's like one thing I really like about the first Doctor Strange movie. As of right now, there's only one. But one thing I love about it is like when you have Tilda Swinton explaining like the magic and stuff, and like Benedict Cumberbatch, he's like trying to wrap his head around it, and he's like, how do you warp time and bring energy from it? It's like, don't think about it. We're not gonna try to explain magic. Like we 100%. Bring energy from other dimensions and we use it. That's all you need to do.
Because I think if they were like if it was like Wanda's powers as well as Barth, I feel like it'd get a bit muddled as to what was what. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't differentiate what she actually did and what Barth was doing.
But that's the thing, right? With Disney, you never know. They're so unpredictable. Like, what was I saying? I completely forgot what I was saying.
It always works, doesn't it? Like
it does.
Like some things you like question in like Marvel, and then like 5 years later they'll release a TV show and they'll answer a question from like 5 years ago, and you'll be like, oh, that makes complete sense. You know what I mean? That's like one thing.
It's very well thought out. I mean, even
100%.
A town like Westview, Wanda and Vision, like it just goes together.
Yeah.
Well, I hadn't made that alliteration.
That connection.
There you go.
Yeah.
Westview, WandaVision. There you go. That makes
Cora, what's your favorite part of the show?
What I think of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, like, I don't know. It's just weird, kind of, because like in each episode, there's always something new. Like you think you have a theory, and you'll get to a point, and you're like, oh, you know, like that's going to happen. That's going to happen, and then you watch the next one, you're like, no, that's out the window. Now I've got to think of something new. And like when you see her kids now, like, because in the comics, you know that she's got 2 kids, and they become
you know that we're gonna. I think we know that they're going to be.
Are we going to do that? Are we going to see
big players?
Are we going to see them older? Are they going to age themselves up, and we're going to watch them when they hit these heroes?
Because one's like Speed, and then the other one's Wiccan, who's got like similar abilities to Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
So I do wonder if we'll see that in the show.
Yeah.
But do you think it's all her? Because she was surprised when
I think so. Yeah, but I think it's her subconscious and grief.
She's the only. Her subconscious or her powers manipulating it I hope is the only explanation, because like her powers come from the Mind Stone, so it would make sense, and all of her connection to Vision, that's her whole like character trait. Well, not the whole thing, but like that's her dynamic with Vision. Like that was her dynamic in Infinity War. She was the only one that could destroy the stone and also kill him. So like there's a lot of grief and stuff going on with her character. I hope it's all her, because if her powers come from literally one of the most like powerful things in the universe, I think her manipulating an entire town and like mind controlling God knows how many people in that one town, I think just works and puts her way above anybody else in terms of power level. And I think a lot of people are hoping to see that. That puts her on like the same level as Captain Marvel, which they mentioned.
Yeah, I'd say higher. I'd say definitely higher.
Oh, you go, yeah.
No, I had a very dumb theory, right?
Go for
it. But think about it this way. Don't you think that Scarlet Witch's powers are so similar to the Red Stone from the Reality Stone?
Yeah.
You'd have thought, wouldn't it? Because her power is in the comics, her power is literally she can warp reality. So you would have
exactly, and that's what she's doing, because she changed the reality. Like,
but I think the way that they're going to do it, because it came from like the Mind Stone, but I think maybe what they'll do it, if Scarlet Witch is the key to like mutants coming about and stuff, is that the Mind Stone unlocks the mutation in your brain, like it's already there, and then it unlocks it, and that's how they'll kind of explain it. So it's not that power, it's just the mutation like in her head. Yeah, I think that's like how they'll kind of get around it.
I kind of
either way, she's very overpowered. Sorry, Cora.
I just feel like because I don't know, like how to feel about Wanda. Like I feel like she will become a villain very soon, because like when oh my god, I'm sorry. When Vision goes to work and the guy next to him is like, oh, like email and stuff like this, and then that message gets read out, and everyone's kind of like laughing, and he's like, oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
And then he kind of touches his mind, doesn't he? And he's like, oh, I'm in pain.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, what is she doing to these people? Like, what are they actually seeing?
Like when she went out.
But do you think
bubble,
she notices it?
I don't know, because when she went out in the bubble and they were all there, she just like flat out refused to even kind of talk about the fact that she was harming people.
It seems like she doesn't know how it started, like, and that's the whole thing. Like, we don't know the connection between the end of Endgames, like, because last time we saw her, she was like at Tony's funeral with Hawkeye talking about their, the people they loved, and then she stole Vision's body, and now she's there. So, and I think the dialogue between her and Vision when they were arguing, and like right before they jumped and they both started flying, they both seem to not know what's going on, or they both like they don't really know how it started. They're aware of the circumstance at the present, but it doesn't seem like Wanda actually knows how everything started. And I think that theory about her subconscious kind of like taking control of her powers and her grief and all of her emotions, just letting
that's
loose.
exactly what Vision said, right?
Yeah.
That she did subconsciously, but then she started realizing it and she just went with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think is exactly that.
I've heard a lot of theories about like Mephisto being a big threat. But that could work in the sense of like it's not his power, but he's manipulating her to do this for an ulterior motive, maybe.
Because 9 days before she stole Vision's body, so like the whole thing we've witnessed has only been 9 days.
Yeah.
And it's like you see the footage of her running in and stealing his body, don't you?
Yeah.
So like maybe like what you're saying, like she's not in control.
Well, not in control. Possessed. Like I think it should be not even possessed. But I think she should like go mental. But it's just because of manipulation. Like she's not under anyone's control. She just has gone bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like that Agnes character, the friend. She's like, I think she's a character from the comics. She's the one who trains Scarlet Witch in like her powers and stuff.
Interesting.
And like she mentions that she has a husband, so people are theorizing that her husband is Mephisto, the devil, and he's like kind of manipulated.
Because they never show the husband.
Yeah, that's
anything.
but that's
right. They don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
And also, when they were figuring out like where the people are missing from, like the sword, were figuring out where the people are missing from. They could not find Agnes.
Yeah.
Like the character was not found.
That might be the route that they're going towards then, because that would make. I know Mephisto has a lot more to do with Doctor Strange and kind of his supernatural world. I'm not sure about his connections to say like Dormammu or anything like that, but it's possible that they might connect that. That would make a lot more sense.
But they hinted in the Loki trailer as well.
I feel like at this point they're
in the Loki trailer.
They hinted at it, did they?
Oh, did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
really? I didn't see.
In one of the scenes
in
the background, the background there's like a glass back with the devil, which is apparently this stuff.
There you go.
Well, like we know that Scarlet Witch is going to be in Doctor Strange too.
Yeah.
So like
and we know she's going to be in Spider-Man as well.
Yeah. So
do we know that too? Oh, right, because the multi Spider-Verse thing that they're probably lining up for.
That's it. I feel like this is a good way to go though, for like, because everyone was asking like the question of like after Endgame, you've finished your biggest storyline with Thanos and everything, and now that's done. What do you do?
You break it all apart.
Yeah, exactly. Like
you go absolutely insane with it.
Yeah, you go crazy. You bring everyone in from Fox. You bring Tobey Maguire back. You know what I mean? It's just like
all universes at one point may just be kind of together.
I don't know, because I don't want everyone back from the X-Men universe. Like,
yeah, there are some characters I think that are better left there.
Do you want the X-Men universe?
Perfect world would be just for them to get James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender as Professor X and Magneto, just them two, and then they're training, or just Professor X is training all the new mutants in the MCU world. So it's just him and like Quicksilver.
Yeah,
and then like you can recast.
I don't see X-Men.
Would you like Wolverine to be recast? That's one big question I think a lot of people's mind. Is it too soon?
I don't know. You could go X-23.
I would like to see X-23 a lot. I think a lot more, because we've seen so much of Logan. He had like 3 movies on his own.
Yeah, you could, because like now it's possible to bring Hugh Jackman back. They're getting everyone else back from Fox, so it's possible.
I saw something that Patrick Stewart had said that he himself was Disney had reached out to him, or I think Kevin Feige personally reached out to him to ask if he wanted to be brought back into the MCU, and he said, "I would if we hadn't already made Logan, because Logan is literally it's the end." So maybe they could reach out and bring X-23 from later in that timeline, possibly, because they can really do anything they want. But since they've already brought back Evan Peters' Quicksilver, it would make more sense to concentrate more on those true X-Men. Not that Wolverine isn't, or X-23 isn't, but like concentrate on those characters and bring them over, because that's one period of time in that alternate universe, or in that specific universe.
Because if you get him from Logan timeline, that's like 100 years odd in the future or something like that, because even that's in the future. So it's just like, I'll be just like chopping stuff up too much.
Exactly. I think maybe dedicated fans could keep up with that, but it would be hard to keep like mainstream audiences. Who's coming from what timeline? And you're going which way with that? We just did a whole time thing with Endgame. It's just too much.
Yeah.
What do you generally think about the X-Men though?
I've never been the biggest fan, personally. I think there are certain characters that are really good, and certain times that they've done those characters really well. But my impression of the X-Men has always been much more campy and much more like, we're the superhero team who are oppressed. Which is unfortunate, because I know a lot of their stories and stuff are supposed to be incredible and very well written, but I can't get past that part. A lot of that superhero, a lot of the classic superhero tropes, I can't get past because of how superhero-y it is. And I love superheroes, but like, I think the adaptations is where they really shine, because you have these great concepts, but to do them stylistically different, I think is the perfect thing, personally.
I don't know. I think when they eventually come to the MCU, I think they will interpret it very differently to fit the MCU much better.
I hope so.
So then I think that'll just be I think MCU will do the best version of it, personally. Just because like the Fox one was so back and forth with everything, and
it got jarring, bro. It got so jarring.
Yeah, it were a mess, man.
I hope, one thing I do hope is that they keep, maybe connecting Wanda with, just to go back to about that Mephisto point, I hope they connect Wanda with Mephisto, but I hope they don't completely undermine her character growth and her character that they're doing here, because like, if they go and they show her pain and her grief over these trials and these awful events that she's had to go through, I think that's going to be way more powerful for her character and her potential later on in the other movies that she's been cast in. I think that's going to be way more beneficial to, not only Elizabeth Olsen and like Wanda's character, but also to like their money, their profits. More people are going to be like, I want to see her in more stuff. Not that she's been completely manipulated by the devil the whole time, which is like, maybe that could be good, but it's also like, you have this great character, you have all this writing and all this build up, just to have that undermined by one, manipulation is kind of insincere.
But I think like if they did it in like the right way of like, he's just playing on the emotions in her that are already there, in like a way like Palpatine Vader type thing, where he just manipulates. Because he's already pretty fucked up. She's already fucked up. You know what I mean? And then like he comes in and just plays on that and kind of bigs that up to build her up. I think that'd be like,
honestly, bro, she's had a shitty life.
Trust me, like
such a shitty life.
Oh my God.
She's like, I'm in the good guys now. I'm the Avengers, and blows up a building in Lago. Like, poor her. It wasn't even her fault.
Like, I hope in these last 2 episodes we get to see a bit more about her specific backstory and a lot of like to dive into the things that make her such an interesting character. Because I was hoping from the first 2 episodes that we'd see more, maybe obvious or a bit more, like I said earlier, David Lynch. Like I love that like psychological horror elements that they could have invested in. They could have, instead of just having an advertisement that hinted at Hydra or hinted at Von Strucker,
make it a bit more twisted.
Yeah, they could have been a bit more scary. They don't have to go rated R with it. But they could be a bit more creepy and create a bit more ambiance. Have you guys ever seen that Adult Swim thing, Too Many Cooks?
I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it.
if you look it up after this, it's fantastic. I think it's like 15 to 20 minutes, and it came on randomly on Adult Swim because they just love to do that kind of stuff from time to time. And basically, it's a 15-minute opening credits for a sitcom, and it goes insane. It starts with just a huge cast of characters, and it just keeps going. And it just keeps going down this rabbit hole. I won't spoil it for you because I think watch it and experience it for yourself. I'm not saying they have to go nearly as mental as like that where Adult Swim went because they're always pushing the boundaries. But I think maybe mess with it a little bit more. That's what the potential I was hoping for those first 2 episodes, and why I think they kind of slumped a little for me because it had so much potential.
But you got to remember, it is Disney. At the end
it is Disney, so I'm not surprised.
They care about money more than art, even though this is very artsy for Disney.
They just confirmed Deadpool 3 and for the MCU as well.
Exactly.
Oh,
that's R-rated. So
they've got so many projects lined up. Like so many projects.
It's crazy.
I hate it. I watch a show like this and it just demotivates me because I'm like, what am I doing with my life? I want to create something like this.
Yeah, in it, bro. Hey, we can try.
Hey, it is what it is. What do you guys think? Is Vision real in your opinion?
Oh yeah, I think it is him. But I think that question of how, because they mentioned that in the show, how is he being controlled without the Mind Stone? How is he brought back without the Mind Stone? I think exploring that is very interesting. So I'm curious.
I know, because if she is animating, what blows my mind is necrophilia. Like that's pretty.
I love that. That's where your mind goes to. Yeah,
it does, bro. Like logically, because if he's dead and she's animating him, that's very fucked up.
Yeah, definitely. That puts like a very different kind of view on the overall show, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Which I love. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it.
I think it actually is him. I didn't, but then if you think about it, kind of like, because he is a robot, he's not a human, so he doesn't need to be like, if it was a dead body, it'd kind of more be like controlled like a puppet, whereas like he is doing his own thing, he's going to work, he's responding, do you know what I mean? Like how Vision would.
Maybe she's just powering him.
Powering like that dead body, because obviously that was what powered him, that's what kept him alive.
Yeah.
But now that's been taken out, like she's near him, maybe like a radius type thing, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like so she's able to control him and keep him alive in this world, but if he leaves it, it'll just be the body again.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that he like comes back.
Yeah, I really want him back.
Like, I want him just back in the MCU just to be around.
It's a strong team, like, for the new set of Avengers.
Vision in Endgame and Infinity War, he was so trash. Like, he didn't...
Oh, Infinity War, yeah.
Well, I think they had to do the same thing with Captain Marvel. It's like you have basically 2 Supermans.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You need to either nerf their powers or have them not be like an unstoppable force in order for any of that stuff to make sense. So it's like, I'm okay with that. And if you want to see them like, tear shit up and go to town and like destroy things, I think give them the time and the movies and the mediums to do that on their own time.
Yeah.
Don't have them completely. But like when Captain Marvel came in at the end of Endgame, you're like, oh, now she can mess things up.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I'd say don't start with overpowered characters. Give them a character arc for that. Yeah. Because WandaVision started from controlling minds, which she just didn't use in Endgame.
Yeah.
Or Infinity War.
Well, she was dead in Endgame, but in Infinity War, there was no one for her to control. I feel, maybe you could argue like Thanos' minions or like the Dark Order or something. But like, in order for her to do that in Age of Ultron, she had to like be very stealthy and manipulate and get behind the Avengers and stuff. And she was kind of on the offensive. But like in Infinity War, they were on the defensive, and she was worried about Vision being impaled and like whether or not she's going to survive. I think it makes more sense for her not to do that and to not showcase those powers at that specific time.
Yeah, definitely. But I think she will, or is probably now the strongest character in MCU.
Yeah,
like at this moment in time, like 100%.
Do you think? What's her name? Monica. What's her surname?
Monica Rambeau.
Yeah, Monica Rambeau. When they were talking about Captain Marvel, and she's like, "Don't talk about her." Do you think they're hinting towards something, or is it just she has some sentimental values from Captain Marvel?
Well, she is Captain Marvel, kind of. She's the next. She becomes Captain Marvel. She becomes. I think I can't remember. Spectrum is one of the names, but she's like kind of Captain Marvel power levels.
White suit, isn't
but maybe maybe they fell out after the death of her mom, because like Captain Marvel and her mom were like friends,
and it kept them together.
So they might have.
Well, yeah, her mom had cancer, right? So it's possible that her experimentation with like the Tesseract and the radiation and stuff might have given her cancer, and maybe this character trait is I haven't forgiven you for bringing the Tesseract into our lives or something like that. And if her mom was the one who was experimenting with the Tesseract before we saw it in the first Avengers movie, like S.H.I.E.L.D. has obviously had it since the first Captain America movie. So between then and then it was in space, and then it got brought back down to Earth. Oh my God! You can do a whole theory on that. So it's possible that like she was like the head S.H.I.E.L.D. researcher working with the Tesseract, but working too closely with it completely messed her up and gave her cancer. And Monica Rambeau sees that as like, you know, Captain Marvel's fault or Carol.
That'd be quite good, to be fair. I'd really that. But it's just like thinking to like the future and stuff. Like, what do you think the next kind of big thing is going to be? Like, we've had the Thanos.
I want to bring up the Wikipedia page. Hold on.
Bro, honestly though, I think WandaVision, for me at least, saved Marvel because it went from like Endgame, which was like the perfect ending for Marvel Cinematic Universe, to Spider-Man, which was like I enjoyed it, but it was when you compare to something like Endgame or something, I'm just like,
follow, is it? I know what you mean.
Like a big
it doesn't. It just doesn't follow the path. It's not a big threat to that.
We waited too long as well. Like we've waited quite a while for something else that's Marvel. Like I've been watching Star Wars and stuff. I feel more connected to Star Wars than I have Marvel.
Yeah,
you know
just because it's been like a year.
That's a whole different discussion. Oh my God.
On the next podcast, guys.
On the next podcast. No, I think for Marvel, so far since Endgame, I'm so happy Black Widow hasn't come out yet, because which is weird because I don't know if it's gonna do as well, but I think having that solo movie come after the heels of Endgame would have been shit. Like I love Spider-Man. I think Far From Home could have dealt with, you know, grief and like his mentor dying and the world being just torn apart a little bit more. But I'm glad it kind of still shined on Peter as an individual. You know, at the end of the day, they could have done things a little bit differently, sure. But like Black Widow, I want to see and be invested in all of her backstory because she's just been in everything. So I'd love to see that. But like on the heels of Endgame would have, I think, subverted all of that and kind of.
But I don't know about you guys, but the way I feel is like I can't watch any of the previous Marvel movies. Like if I watch Iron Man 3, for example, I wouldn't care about it because I know what's gonna happen later on. So with Black Widow, I'm not that hyped. I'm like, I know she's dead. I've seen her die. Like I don't care about the
she's gonna die anyway, so it doesn't matter if she wins or not.
I think they missed the trick by not having a Black Widow film in phase 1 or 2.
I think that's a big missed opportunity.
100%.
It's like we'll watch her life and see her become what she is, and then we'll be like, well, she died anyway, so.
Exactly.
Imagine if they did like a better, because they kind of had that buddy cop thing with Winter Soldier with her, but they were also like doing so many different things in that movie. If they gave her more of a you know, even if they couldn't give her a solo movie, if they gave her more opportunities to be like the co-star to another Avenger, if they were going to do that, that would have been awesome. Or if they made a Hawkeye and Black Widow movie, like
exactly.
that could have been great.
And the character arc for Black Widow makes no sense to me. She went from like this cold assassin to just like a depressed, grieving girl.
No,
I'm gonna die for everything. Like,
I think it makes sense. I don't know if her dying makes a lot of sense, but I think her, you know, going from a
but don't you feel like she was kind of irrelevant in the previous Avengers or the Winter Soldier or whenever she came in, and then in Endgame and Infinity War, just because they knew they're making a movie out of her, she was just suddenly relevant and so important.
I just think it was. I think it was more of like the fact that the final Avengers films were kind of there to pay like respects to the original 6 in a way. You know what I mean? They all had quite a big role. Like even bringing Hawkeye in an Endgame, just because it's like you know that they're all kind of signing off on Jeremy Renner, and
so they need like a last good.
Still, you know what I mean? The last hoorah type thing before they're gone.
Yeah, definitely.
Robert Downey Jr. at least, but you know.
Oh, I miss Captain already.
I
don't want to like watch.
What's like?
It's like, oh, he's dead.
What's like your most like gassed MCU projects upcoming, like show or film?
Honestly, like for me, I wasn't hyped about shows before until I saw WandaVision.
Yeah.
But I'm into Loki. I'm into the new Winter Soldier one. No, what's it called? Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Loki, and I think I'm actually really looking forward to Moon Knight because
Oscar Isaacs.
I don't know. Have they cast him officially?
Yeah, I think it's confirmed now. To be fair, and Ethan Hawke as the villain.
Oh wow, that's very cool.
Yeah, I'm weirdly hyped for Eternals.
I was not.
Which one's Eternals?
Eternals is the next film. I think it's supposed to be coming out after Black Widow.
After Black Widow, yeah.
Oh no, it's Black Widow, then Shang-Chi, and then.
Oh yeah, they swapped it, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but who are the Eternals?
Eternals are basically like the kind of gods that have been. I think, like in one interpretation in the comics, they kind of forgot who they were for millions of years, kind of, and they were just living as humans. They're actually like these.
Fair enough.
But it's got like a good cast. It's got like Angelina Jolie and like Richard Madden and stuff.
I remember the.
And apparently it's shot very, very different to every other MCU film. Like it's like the cinematography.
I really like that. I like that the way Tim said initially. MCU was very repetitive at a point, but now they're trying out new stuff, a lot more abstract.
Yeah, definitely. That's what they needed. That was like you kind of like you're saying like, oh, who's the next Thanos type thing? That's a question that's asked a lot. But I think the best way to do that is to start switching it up, like with the formula. Start switching it up with the shot. Start switching like the story beats up. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like even with WandaVision, like you say, like it's so out there compared to what they normally do.
And that's the thing, right? Disney doesn't have to play safe anymore. They have the revenue, they have the money, and they have the fandom behind it. Yeah, like they know anything they'll do, the fans will watch it. And I think that's how they're more comfortable in being experimental.
Yeah, definitely.
Like when you really think about any of the Avengers movie, if you put logic in, it makes no sense. But it's just so much fun. It's so much fun.
And then here, so it keeps you distracted, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. Anything. Well, I guess. Well, that was the end of the conversation, apparently.
No, I guess this is the end of the podcast. Thank you guys for watching so much. Make sure you follow Tim and Cora and us, Agusto Productions, and hope to see you next time.